that is something to be concerned about. So you want to like balance is good and just not to be afraid of cooked foods as if there's something really bad. There are healthy raw diets or unhealthy raw diets, are healthy cooked diets. Definitely include some raw diets. I do recommend for my clients, I do recommend having at least half your diet from raw foods just because of all the wonderful properties that you keep intact. But it's good to have some cooked foods too for some people.
And on the topic of food combining, there is this thought by usually people who aren't plant-based that plant-based proteins aren't complete and you need to combine certain things in order to get complete proteins. Can you talk to that?
Debunked from day one. This is so old. Oh my gosh, I wish everyone would get over this whole protein obsession. But no, we do not need to combine proteins. Our bodies are so brilliant. We do not need to micromanage our body. Do you know that up to 90% of amino acids are recycled in our bodies? So like, why are we trying to micromanage it by eating the beans and the rice at the exact same time so that all the amino acids are in the right combination and will absorb it, and all of a sudden you're going to spit out a fingernail or whatever your body needs? All of our structures and functions of the body require amino acids, but we don't eat amino acids. I mean, we don't eat protein. We eat protein. It breaks it down into amino acids. Our body untangles those little amino acids and dipeptides into amino acids. It's floating around, and then it's sitting there ready for when you need to make a hormone or an enzyme or a fingernail or a piece of hair or whatever, and it strings it back together as needed. You have excess, you're going to excrete it. We don't store protein per se. We don't store it. So this protein combining thing was absolutely debunked. It was never scientific, and we need to get past that myth because it's so ridiculous. And it's, you know, the idea that we have to eat a certain, it's like our bodies are like not those, you know, those machines, those coin machines where you throw in all your change and blah, 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 and it calculates it all. We don't be like, oh, we got enough B12, ding, 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 ding. And oh, now we need our iron. Oh, we need one more amino acid. I'll take a, you know, protein jeopardy. No, our bodies are so much more brilliant than that. And we're so good at just finding what we need, storing what we need for later, getting rid of what we don't need. If you're eating whole plant foods and you're eating the vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices, and you're prioritizing the 6 daily threes and getting all those nutrients that you really need to make sure you're prioritizing, your body will do all the rest itself. And it's so much simpler than it sounds and that people make it seem. And then we get all obsessed and worried, and then that's a bigger problem than anything else.
Great, thank you for that answer. And next question is coming from Stephen V. Please state where you're from and ask your question, Stephen.
I'm from Buffalo, New York, and two brief questions. In your clinical experience, how often do you or your clients use like green and fruit smoothies as a way to get fruits and vegetables? And the second brief question is, I've read that beyond the age of 60, maybe we don't utilize protein quite so much. So maybe we need a little bit more. What's your clinical experience with that?
Well, first about the protein real quick is that after the age of 65, we do need slightly more protein, but it still ends up being about the same as the average now that that the recommendations are anyway. So about 1 gram per kilogram. And so we do need a little bit, slightly more, maybe 1.2. I've heard max 1.3 grams per kilogram, not pound. And that's just because of different mechanisms by which, like, you want to increase. Okay, so eating a certain amount of protein before age 65 increases mortality, but after 65, it increases mortality to not have enough. And that's because of just things that are shifting, like you're saying, the intrinsic factor, all that different things that are shifting after a certain age. So we do need to make sure we're getting amino acids in the right amounts. But again, 1 gram per kilogram is a really good number to shoot for, maybe 1.2. You can get absolutely all of that by eating. It's about 10% of your total calories from protein by eating these whole plants, making sure you're getting your legumes and stuff like that. But there is definitely a shift at around 60, 65 that we do need to be aware of. But it doesn't mean eat, you know, like people do the 1 gram per pound of body weight. People are eating more than twice the amount of protein that's recommended everywhere. That's what they're doing across the lifespan now. It's absolutely off the charts crazy. And we see, remember for health span, I didn't really talk much about this. Again, this is my first time giving this talk and I have a lot of work to do on this talk, but dietary restriction without malnutrition is the only way we've extended health span and longevity in all the organisms tested. But it's actually amino acid restriction. Dietary amino acid restriction is the only way we've extended health span and longevity. Okay, so eating less protein. So you want to eat just enough, right? Not too much after 65 to increase mortality and not too much or not enough to increase mortality too. It's like that sweet spot. And the sweet spot is back to the recommendations that are already there for the Institute of Medicine. Nothing has changed. It's about 1 gram per kilogram. Even after that age, maybe 1.2 grams per kilogram. Very easy to do. Green smoothies. I was doing green smoothie videos 20 years ago or whenever YouTube started, whatever. And I was like I'd make this big, huge thing of green. Love the green smoothie. It's the great gateway drug for people that don't want to do greens, but you don't need them. And for weight loss, it can get in the way because you can I remember my smoothies were this big and I was so proud of myself. Look at me and my big old green smoothie. Well, that was like 1,000 calories or whatever. And they're not satisfying because they're already pre-digested for you because it's blended and it goes right through you. So I don't recommend green smoothies for most people, especially because most of my clients are trying to lose weight. You can make them very healthy. If there are lots of greens and just fruit, you're not dumping a whole bunch of, juice or anything like that in there. They can be healthy. I do use them for my clients that are elderly and having dental problems or can't get enough calories, or my clients that are trying to gain weight, or my clients that really just can't look at a leafy green without gagging, which is really sad, but it's a gateway to getting more greens into your diet. So most of the time I don't recommend them. And, but you can make them work if you really want to. Is that an okay answer, generally speaking?
Great, thank you. So we have about 3 minutes left. I'm gonna put a question out to Aruna S. Please state where you're from and ask your question.
This is Aruna from Maryland. Hi, Juliana. I have a question for you. What are your thoughts on eating sprouted legumes raw versus cooking them once sprouted for people with autoimmune conditions?
I don't know the answer to that question. That is a good question. I don't know the difference between a sprouted raw legume and and then cooking them. That's a great question. I don't know how much is lost. I couldn't give you a quantitative answer to that. So I don't want to answer that because I don't know. Okay. It's a good question.
But is it safe to eat raw sprouted legumes?
Yes. Specifically for a condition, I can't answer that either because I don't know which compound.
No, but generally, how about like sprouted lentils or sprouted chickpeas, eating it raw?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. And Ronnie B, please state where you're from and ask your question.
Hey, Ronnie.
Oh, hold on, let's see here if I can.
Hi.
Oh, sorry.
I have a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a comment and a question. I am a client of Julieanna's. She worked with me about 1.5 years ago and helped me lose 50 pounds. And even more than that, my cholesterol and my blood pressure normalized. So kudos to her. She's amazing. And I've kept it off. So it's been, almost 2 years and I've kept it off and I've never felt better. But Julieanna, my question, besides the fact that I miss you, is that I'm not a huge mushroom fan. And you mentioned the capsules, and I'm just wondering what you might recommend for that.
Yeah, well, I don't recommend brands per se, but I do love, like, Stamets still has some of these formulations that I kind of take every day. They're like, like a immune, it's like Stamets 7, or there's like a few of them, comprehensive. Just look for the Stamets things on Amazon, and just like the blend. It's just a good way to get them. I used to do teas, and sometimes I'll do like a mushroom tea. I have a mushroom tea that I have in my cabinet. I can't remember the brand though. I will email me and I'll let you know what I find. But you could just look at mushroom caps and I don't like the powders per se, unless you're adding them to an ingredient. Like if I make my cream of mushroom, well, if you don't like mushrooms, you're not gonna be making that. But it works in certain sauces and dressings too. But yeah, mushroom tea, there's all sorts of different powders out there too that you could play with. But I do like the Stamets, all Paul Stamets' stuff.
And even there's like mushroom coffees that are becoming popular too out there. So
yes, I drink that too.
So we've got about 30 seconds left. If you want to leave us with any final thoughts.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And thank you for your really interesting questions. And I just want to say again, back to what I was saying, the very beginning, it's so important. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't aim for perfection, because it doesn't exist. There's literally no such thing as a perfect diet. You couldn't construct the perfect diet because there's no way to do it. Stay simple, stay whole, eat a little bit less, eat whole plants, and have radical self-compassion. And congratulations for making these decisions, because you're already way ahead of the game.
Great. Thank you so much, Juliana. If we can unmute the audience so they can share their appreciation.
I'm freedom.
Thank you.
Amazing. Something. Start looking for something.
Thank
Whatever.
you.
Thank you very much.
So much